Yaakov, hi, good evening. I just saw the tweet you sent out today about paying back the money. So I figured you'd like it happen this afternoon. The kids, one of my aunts brought back pizza. There's a bunch of us here in the house, Canara. So it was $64 and change, whatever. So my wife gave her $65. She says, Bobby, no, I'm not taking the extra money. My wife says, take the extra money. It's a tip. No, she said, I'm not taking it. It's ribbons. No,
Very good, very good. But Lamaisa, that's going to be coming up tomorrow and the next day. That when it's a purchase, it's more makel. And from a grandmother, it's certainly more makel. Yeah. Not on a loan, but on a purchase.
Okay.
So yeah, that's very good. That's very good. Yeah. Avi Klein, you're looking good. You're getting prepared for next Sukkot. I mean, Avi Klein, you look like you're.
Maybe I will let him daven.
I was gonna say we should do daf in person next time like this.
Let me tell you, is that where your sukkah normally is?
Pretty much.
All right.
Wide open.
Yeah. It looks relaxing. I don't know. It looks warm, but it looks relaxing.
I told Peretz I got the cigars. He just has to bring the meat.
Very good.
Everyone's invited.
Thank you. I'm ready for coming. I'm getting myself winterized. No. Yeah. Let me flip the screen to show our chashuv guest over here in person.
Look at that.
Oh, wow. I would have been there if I knew. My wife has a Hashanah tonight. I'm stuck home.
There you go.
Wow.
You're stuck home with your own children. Unbelievable.
Aaron, Rabbi, could have been stuck with yours.
What did you do? You came to check on the car?
Oh, I could have been stuck in the Hashanah.
Oh my gosh. What a surprise. I thought you were one of the Hassanim. You look from far away. I figured, okay, just
he needs a refresher.
Really? Because you look like one of the Hassanim that come here to learn. Doesn't he? A little beard and tall, like him.
All right.
I just needed Faggy's address.
I don't know Faggy's address.
It's her anniversary.
I don't know her address. What should I tell you? So I'm not a good father. I don't know her address.
Welcome. What can I do?
No, I have it in my phone somewhere.
No, I'm here. My son is not here, but I'm here. We're checking out.
Anyways.
Wow, what a surprise. That's a good one.
There you go.
You better sit in on every class.
What?
Hello.
All right. So what are we up to over here? Nobody remembers what we're up to, huh?
Yeah.
We did a little bit further, right? We did. I don't know. I think we got up to Bomine, no?
Yeah. Yes.
We got up to Bomine on Tesva Amud Aleph. Okay, we'll just hold on a second. Oh yeah, so you're right. That's what we left off with that interesting chiddush that when seems like esrog trees are quite sensitive, right? And if you mess with them too much, they're not going to give off fruit for another 2 years, right? Till the third year, they're not going to give off fruit. Is that so, Mr. Esrog tree grower?
We try not to mess with them.
Okay. Yeah. So anyways, so now we continue with the esrog when we do trumas and maisus and shmita for esrogim. Yeah. This is the last blot of this, and then tomorrow, as Hashem starts the real heavy duty, all the questions you ever wanted to know about Rosh Hashanah and when is the Gemar Din, when is the Psak Din, this, that, why we daven a whole year if the Gemar Din is on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. All those questions are starting with tomorrow. Believe it or not, a lot of the questions we have are Gemara's questions, right? But anyway, so we'll see that. So, but first we have to finish the Meiser and Trumas and all that. So, Bomine Rav Yochanan and Rebbe Yana. Yeah, about 10 lines down. Tesva Amud Aleph. So, Bomine Rav Yochanan and Rebbe Yana. Esrog Rosh Hashanah Shaloi Eimasai. So, in Esrog, when is the Rosh Hashanah for Esrog? Because again, yesterday we left off saying that Rav Gamliel held that if you're saying that esrog goes when you pick it, so then if that's the case, it's like a vegetable, and vegetables, the Rosh Hashanah is Tishrei. So do we say that it's like a vegetable and it's Tishrei, or do we say no, it's like a fruit, so then it's Shvat? So Amalei, so he answered him back, Shvat, it's Shvat, which is a politically correct answer, because he didn't say Rosh Chodesh Shvat like Beis Shammai, and he didn't say Tu B'Shvat like Beis Hillel. He just said Shvat. Yeah. So then he asked, Shvat the Chadoshim or Shvat the Tkufa? Do you mean Shvat for the months, meaning according to the lunar calendar? Or is it Shvat the Tkufa? Or is it the month of Shvat according to the solar calendar, which is called the Tkufa? Meaning, we know that there's a discrepancy of a bunch of days between the solar calendar and the lunar calendar, right? So Shvat, or the equivalent of Shvat would be later, going with the solar calendar, right? Which could very well be the one that affects the growth of the fruit, right? Because that's really more, the temperature, I think, is more based on the solar calendar than it is on the lunar calendar, right? So he asked, is it the Chadashim or Shevet the Tkufa? So Amalei, he said to him the Chadashim. He said it goes with the months, the lunar months, not with the solar, right? And Taisus says, the second Taisus says that it's referring to all trees. This question is by all trees, not just by esrog, right? Why is he only asking by esrog? Because that was the sugi that we're holding about. But the same question applies to all trees. Does it go with the lunar calendar or solar calendar? Right? Right? Fine. So Ba'mine Rabba Rav Nachman, Ba'mine Rav Yochanan, Rav Yanai. Hashanah Beres Ma. What about if it's a leap year? So what's the shaila? Do we say that is it shvat that's close to teves, meaning the regular standard shvat, or do we say that shvat means it's the second to last month of the year, which means that you would have to push it to Adar Rishon? Meaning, when we say shvat, does it mean it has to be in the month of shvat, in which case there's going to be no difference whether it's a leap year or not? Or do we say, no, it has to, when we mean by shvat, we mean the month before Adar, which means if you're having two Adars, and the Adar Sheni is the Ikar Adar, so then Shvat on a leap year like this year would really mean Adar Rishon, not Shvat. So
how is this different to the last question? That's what Shvat Kufas means.
Well, the difference is between a leap year and a non-leap year. Also, according to the first question, it's only the discrepancy is only like 12 days. 12, 11.
Yeah, that's what the discrepancy is. But
here it's a month.
When you ask the Tkufas Shvat in a leap year is Adar Rishon.
Shvat it's partially in Adar Rishon. I don't think the whole thing. Oh,
it would depend which leap year it is. If it's a 2 or a 3.
What do you mean a 2 or a 3? You mean in which
Seder leap years? 2, 3, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3.
Right. I hear. I don't know enough to have any idea. Yeah. Anyway, so that was his question. So we go after most years, right? So therefore, it goes always with Shvat. So basically, it's Shvat no matter what. Then the stam, there's a whole Machlokes in the Poskim, which Adar is anyways the Ikar Adar, right? So somebody has yard side in Adar Rishon, there's an Adar Rishon, there's an Adar Sheni. All right, fine. Amar Rabba. Esrog Bashisha Shenichus al Shvius. So we're going to have for the next about more than an Amud, we're going to have a back and forth. It's not really a back and forth, just all these varying opinions over what's the status from the 6th year to the 7th year. Meaning, when do you say that it's part of Shemitah? When do you say it's not part of Shemitah? Right? So Amar Rabba, Esrog Bas Shisha. So if you have an Esrog that was grown in the 6th year, Shenichnas al Shvius, and then meaning it started growing in the 6th year, which Rashi says means it how do you call it? Shchanta, budded. Budded? Is there a word? Budded? It bud. It bud. It bud? Okay, I don't know. It came out of its shell or whatever. It came out in the 6th year, and it grew into the 7th year. So Petura min meiser is potter from meiser. Now, what does that mean? You potter from meiser. So again, just as a hakdama, there's no trumas and meisus in Shemitah because everything's hefker. So basically, if we say that you have to keep Shemitah, then the automatic on the opposite end of that is that you keep Shemitah, you don't have to do trumas and meisus. If we say that you have to do trumas and meisus, that means it's not Shemitah, right? The two are opposite. How do you say it? They're opposite.
Polar opposites.
I guess is that what the polar? Yeah, they're
Mutually
opposite.
Diametrically opposed.
Mutually
Di-
exclusive.
Mutually exclusive. That's good. Yeah, that's mutually exclusive. Yeah, which is sort of like sitting on a porch smoking a cigar with a sweater on. I don't know. That's also like mutual. I don't know. It's sort of like
No,
that.
that's tremendously comfortable. It's for
Okay. I'm just saying, like in the
Tremendously
studio, you got fire. Okay. Oh, you're right. It's the same fire to warm you up and the sweater. You're right, 100%. Okay, but but anyways, yeah. So they're the opposites. Again, if there's Shemitah, then there's no Trumas and Maisus. If there's Trumas and Maisus, then there's no Shemitah. Right. So again, but here, what does he say, Rabba? Esrog bashishis shenichnas l'shvius petura min ha'maiser petura min ha'bir. It's potter from maiser and it's potter from beer. Now, beer means that Shemitah we're going to be having this next year. We're not in Eretz Yisrael, unfortunately. So we're going to have this. We're not going to have this. We'll have it a little bit. You have to be careful that stuff that grows automatically during Shemitah. So once it becomes unavailable, since everything's hefker, so once it becomes unavailable to the animals in the field, then you have to take, it's actually Machlokes Tanaim, whether you have to just destroy all the food at that point, or you just mafker it. Right? If you just mafker it, then you can be kind it back. Either way, that's called beer. So basically, I don't know why the Gemara is calling it beer here. Why does it just say potter from Shemitah? But that's what it is. So basically he's saying it's potter from Meiser and potter from Shemitah, which automatically makes you ask a question. If they're opposed to each other, so how could you have it that you potter from both? Right? But which the Gemara is going to ask in a few lines. But if it started budding in the 7th year, so went into the 8th year, which would be, let's say, this year. You have an esrog that bud this year, and then it continued growing into next year. So then that's Petura b'maiser b'chayavas b'bir. Okay, that already makes sense. It's potter from maiser and it's chayav and bir. Why? Because it's considered kedusha shvius. So therefore, it doesn't have maiser, but it's chayav and bir. So only abayim. Ishlam a seifa l'chumra. So we understand the seifa. We're going l'chumra because we're considering, even though it's the 8th year, we're not sure. So we're going to continue. We're going to make it like the chumra that it's the 7th year. And therefore you have to treat it like Shemitah, and therefore you're potter from Meiser. Ela Reish Peturim in a beer, but in the Reish you're potter from beer. Amai damrinan zilbasa chanata. Why? Because you say we go with when it bud, and it bud in the 6th year. So if it did it in the 6th year, so then in the 6th year you need to give Meiser. So how does the ratio make any sense? So Yad Hakol Meiser. This is a very interesting teretz. He's saying everybody's hand, which is sort of what we finished with the Gemara yesterday, a few lines above that we started with. They said everybody's hands are touching your fruits and vegetables because again, the fields are hefker during Shemitah. So that means everybody that walks in can do whatever they want. So they're busting up your trees and your fruits and vegetables. But this is for you, man. Everybody's touching your food, and you're going to say that you're the owner. You're not the owner, right? This is unless they're putting gloves on.
I give it away.
What? You'd give it away.
You would like the
Exactly. This is Mamish Parrots. This Gemara is right for parrots. Yeah. You ever see, if anybody ever watched parrots making barbecues, it's with gloves. Always with gloves. You will not have any of parrots' skin on your meat if you eat parrots' meat. Right? So that's what the Gemara is saying here.
Who's the hashkacha this week?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. So again, everybody's hands are touching your fruits. You're going to say that you're the owner of it. You should be chayav. I said, no, it's hefker. It's nothing to do with you.
If something's hefker, you're allowed to damage it.
No, you can't. But just people coming into the fields and
but they're not
damaging it on purpose.
They're not doing it. They just don't know what they're doing. I don't know if it means here that it's no. See, the previous Gemara was that they could possibly damage they agitate the esrog tree. Here, it's not pshat that they're going to ruin it. They're just like people putting their hands all over your food, and then you want to go out and eat something. You're like, this doesn't really belong to me. I don't really want it, right? That's basically what it's saying. Fine. So that's the first shita. Rav Hamnuna disagrees. He says, "Bas shisha shenichos l'shvius." Of the 6th year going into the 7th year, la'olam shishis. It's really considered 6th year, and therefore you'd have to take off meiser. Unlike the first opinion, ubas shvius anichnas l'shmitas la'olam shvius is forever going to be shmita. So he always goes with the year that it bud. That's it. So Meisvei Reb Shimon Yehuda Aimer. So we're going to ask now on him. Meisvei Reb Shimon Yehuda Aimer Reb Shimon. Right? Reb Shimon Yehuda says in the name of Reb Shimon. I imagine that's not himself, right? He's not saying it b'shem himself. L'chayr, right? So esrog bashishis shenichnas. What?
Rabbi Shimon claims Rabbi
Usually,
Shimon.
right? Correct. Usually, Reb Shimon is Reb Shimon Vayechai. Correct. Yeah, very good. So he says like this: esrog bashishis shenichnesas l'shvius. So an esrog that bought in the 6th year and went into the 7th year, peturim and amaiser. It's potter from amaiser. Peturim and abir. Now this is a third shita because he's saying here it's potter from amaiser and it's potter from shmita. That there's nothing that you chayav in meiser unless it grew b'chiyav and nilkat b'chiyav. It had to grow when it was chayav and it had to be picked when it was chayav too. And you don't have that here because it grew in the 6th year, but it wasn't picked until the 7th year. So therefore, it's not chayav. It's not going to be chayav in meiser. So that and shmita, it's not shmita because it grew in the 6th year. But the 7th year, it goes into 8th year, peturim and amaiser. It's potter from meiser, upeturim and abir, and it's potter from beer. So he's saying it's potter in all situations. As long as it's a combination of the 6th to the 7th, 7th to the 8th, he's saying that it's potter. Rav Shimon ben Elazar is saying that B'Shem Rav Shimon is potter from everything. Why? His shita is that everything has to be done in the year of the chiyuv. If it's not all done in the year of the chiyuv, then it doesn't go. So now Reish kasha Rav Hamnuna. So the Reish of this, now this is Tanaim. So the Reish is a kasha to Rav Hamnuna, and Seifa is kasha bein l'Rav bein l'Rav Hamnuna. Then the Seifa is a kasha to both, meaning this brisa does not fit in with either one of the Amoraim's opinions that we just said. The first Amoraim's opinion, which was Rabbah, was that it's potter in both. In the first case, and the 7th and the 8th year, it's potter from Meiser and Chayev in Shemitah, right? So that doesn't work with the ratio here, and the Seifa doesn't work according to both of them, right? So ratio kasha Rav Hamnuna, Seifa kasha ben Rav Hamnuna. So Tanakh answers Tanahi. It's a Machlokes Tanaim. The Tanya again. So what we're doing here is we had a Machlokes Amoraim. Then we wanted to bring a kasha from a brisa, and now we're saying it's a machlokes. You can't ask a kasha from the brisa because this brisa itself is a machlokes, right? Tanaihi. So when it says the machlokes, the Tanya Amar of Yaisi Avtulmas Hayed B'Shum Chamesha Zakenim. Avtulmas said Eidos in the name of 5 Zakenim. Esrog Acher Likitasa Lemaisa. Esrog goes with when you picked it from Maisa. Rabbi Seinu Nimru Ba'usha, and the Rabbanim were. They voted in Usha v'Amru Achalikitasa. We go with the picking Bein LaMaiser, Bein LaShvius, whether it's for Meiser, whether it's for Shvius. Now, he's talking about Meiser. All of a sudden, the Rabbi Seinu Nimru Ba'usha mentioned Shvius. What does that have to do with anything? So Shvius man dochar shmei. You want to ask who mentioned anything about Shvius? So on Tommy Base, the one answers there's something missing from this brisa. This is what it means to say esrog acher likitasoi lemaiser. Esrog goes when it was picked from meiser. Acher chanota l'shvius, but it goes after when it bud for shvius. When we say no nimru beusha, that's the Tanakama. And the Rabbi Seinu nimru usha, the Rabbanan from Usha said acher likitasoi bein lemaiser bein l'shvius. It goes with when it was picked, whether it's for meiser or whether it's for shvius. So you see, it's a machlokes Tanaim, what you do with esrogim for Meiser and for Shemitah, right? Okay, so far we have 3 shitas of what the status is of the esrog going from the 6th to the 7th, and what the status is from the 7th to the 8th. Fine. So Itmar, Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish, Amri Tavayo, Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish both say esrog bashishis shenichnas l'shvius la'olam shishis. Right. So these are two Amoraim. They say when the esrog is bud in the 6th year, and then it grew into the 7th year, it's always considered the 6th year. He also Rav and Amar Rabbi Yochanan esrog bashishis shenichnas l'shvius afilu kizayis. He says that. And this is also b'shem Rav Yochanan, that an esrog that bud in the 6th year and it went into the 7th year, and then even if it was a kizayis, meaning all that it was the size of an olive in the 6th year, benasis kikar, and it grew so big in the 7th year up to a kikar, which means the majority of its growth was in the 7th year. Still, chayav noleh mishum tevel, you're chayiv for tevel, meaning it needs to take off. I don't know why the Gemara here again changes the terminology. Till now was using its chayiv and meiser. Here he says it's chayiv tevel. Tevel means if you didn't take off chumas and meiser from this esrog, then you're going to be chayiv. Right? So, so then again, Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish is saying a different shita. Well, it's goes with when it bud. So Tana Rabbanon, Elon Shechantu Peirosav Koidem Tesva B'Shvat, a tree whose peiros budded in the before Tesva Tu B'Shvat, Misasa L'Shana Shavra. It goes with the Ma'aser from the previous year. Achar Tu B'Shvat, after Tu B'Shvat, Misasa L'Shana Haba. It takes off Ma'aser for the future year. So Amar of Nechemia Med, one of them be Elon Shoyse Shtei Brichos B'Shana. This is talking about a tree that makes 2 Brichos B'Shana. Brichos art scroll titled as broods, right?
What does that mean?
What is a brood? So brood means babies, basically. I don't know. Simon.
So there's twice a year that they.
So what does that mean? Twice a year it gives off fruit twice a year. That's exactly what they want to ask. Stay brichos agadai. You mean it gives off like some birds and all that will have babies even way more often than twice a year. But it's saying that a tree is giving off two brichos sagadaydach. Elaim ke'ein shtei brichos. It means it's similar to two brichos.
What does that mean?
So what does it mean 2 brichos? So Rashi says it's like tamarim, te'enim. I'm sorry. Rashi says it's like te'enim, where they don't all get ripe at the same time. So therefore, it's looked at like as if it's having 2 sets of fruits, even though it's only 1 set of fruit, which is similar to what we learned on Thursday or Friday about kitnius also, and all those kitnius they don't produce at the same time, so that's why they tried to make a different time for when you're going to take off the chumas and maisus.
This is lamaisa. I don't know Esrogim, but oranges ripen twice a year. There's 2 times you harvest oranges. Like we have on our trees. You'll see little ones on the whole time, but twice a year they get ripe.
But not new growth.
No, I'm saying you'll see stuff on the tree, but twice a year you can harvest.
There you go. Okay, so there we go. Yeah. The warm climate representative here. So okay, so Rashi says it's with figs, but I guess oranges would be the same thing. Either way, so the Gemara is saying it looks like it's making fruit twice a year, but really it's not. So he's saying that's when it goes with Tu B'Shvat. But a tree that grows fruit once a year could go into kolim, like date trees, zaysim is olive trees, charubin is carob trees. Even though their fruit bud before Tu B'Shvat, it goes with the ma'aser from the Shana Haba because you go with when it gets picked, not with when it buds. So basically, Reb Nechemia is saying a new chiddush here, right? Right before the end of the sugya, Reb Nechemia is giving an opinion that these fruits that have a harvest once a year go with when they're picked, even though we said that fruits go with when they bud. So Reb Nechemia is a minority opinion here with this. So Amar Reb Yochanan, Nagu Am b'Charubin K'Rebbi Nechemia. So now we get into a loaded part of the Gemara here, right? So Rav Yochanan said that the minhag, the Olam does by Caribs like Reb Nechemia. Okay, we'll get to the end of the sugya because the lashon nagu is important. Nagu am b'charubin Reb Nechemia. The minhag is like Reb Nechemia by Caribs. So Esrog Rav Yochanan b'nai shuach, right? So b'nai shuach is some sort of white figs. Shviya shalahen. There, the shemitah for the white figs is shniya, is the second year of the cycle. Meaning, this year is shemitah. White figs still retain their shemitah status, not next year, but 2 years from now. Why? Because they take so long to grow, but they bud during shemitah. But it takes so long for them to get ripe. It takes 2 years, so they could even have kedusha shviyas 2 years after shemitah is over. Right? Why? Because it takes them 3 years. So you see, Reish lakish as Rabbi Yochanan, that you see clearly that it goes for Shemitah when the fruits bud, not from when it gets picked. Because if you go with when it gets picked, so there should be no kedusha shviyas. You're picking it in the second year of the Shemitah cycle, 2 years after Shemitah. So you see here that it goes with when it bud. So Ishtik, he was quiet. Okay, so now the question is, what is this Ishtik? Is this Ishtik, he was quiet because he agreed and he was slugged up? Or is he Ishtik, he was quiet because he didn't really particularly care for Reish Lakish's kasha? So let's see. So Amalei Rav Abba HaKayin to Rav Yossi HaKayin. Right, so Rav Abba the Kayin said to Rav Yossi HaKayin, Amai Ishtik, why was he quiet? Leimalei, Amina Lachana Rav Nechemia, V'at Amrli Rabbanon. I said they're passing like Rav Nechemia. You asked me a kasha from the Rabbanon. I just told you it's a different shita. Right? It's a different shita. Why are you asking me a kasha from the Rabbanon? Imagine you tell somebody a din b'shem a Rav, and then he comes back and says, "Oh, but this Rav said something else." Okay, well they're disagreeing, right? So what kind of kasha is that? Right? So again, Amina Lachana Rav Nechemia V'at Amrli Rabbanon. So the Gemara says, "Mishum Damar Lei Shavaktu Rabbanon V'at Rav Nechemia." Right? So he explained to me. He says, you're leaving the Rabbanon, you're doing like Rav Nechemia? The Rabbanon are the majority. Rav Nechemia is a minority. Why are you saying like the minority?
When it was Ishtik, could have been Shtika Kaida.
That's the Shaila. Was it Shtika Kaida, or was he just not being Gairas the Kasha? Which we'll see. So again, so the explanation of the question was, why are you going with a minority opinion versus a majority opinion? So then the Gemara says, why didn't he answer him back? I said that they're noyig. This is an important thing. They're noyig, quite controversial, quite not understanding. It's not easy to understand this either.
Yeah, like not sitting in the sukkah on Shmini Atzeres.
There you go. Very good. Right. That's right. That's right. Yes. Welcome home.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome, Mickey.
Thank you.
So anyway, so he said, I'm telling you that's the minhag, and you're telling me Yisura, right? Which is mamish the answer that Eliyahu gives to us every time we get on him about. You're right, you're 100% right. When we get on him about any of the hanhagas, so he says, if it's an isser, you're just saying your minhag is daicha and isser, right? How can you say, oh, the minhag is like that? I mean, it's very nice to try and say that, but if it goes against an isser, how can you say that? Right? So V'lei Melei, then Gemara says, okay, why didn't he answer him back? Why didn't Reish Yochanan answer Reish Lakish? V'lei Melei ki amina lachana meiser charuben derabbanon v'at amrli shviyas daraisa. I'm talking about meiser of caribs, which is the rabbanon, which we learned a few blot ago, that according to all Rishonim, it's really, the caribs is for sure going to be only chumas and meisers to rabbanon. Right, really only olives according to some, and grain according to some is the daraisa. Everything else is the rabbanon. But caribs is the rabbanon, and you're bringing me a kasha from shviyas daraisa, something that's daraisa we're going to be more strict with. Something that's rabbanon we're going to be more lenient with. So Ella Amar Rav Abba HaKayin Mehani Im Hashiva Reish Lakish L'Tshuvatu. I'm wondering, he said, if Reish Lakish even answered this, even if he even answered this question. What's the one asked Im Hashiva Ha'isva? What do you mean? If he made the answer, he asked the question, meaning he was asked the question, he was quiet. Ella, so what he means is Ella Ema in Kibla of Yochanan like Kibla. He's not sure whether Rabbi Yochanan was makabel this kasha when he was quiet. Did he mean to be makabel the question? And he was just quiet because he didn't have an answer. Im like kibla, or he was not makabel at all, and he didn't even address it. He didn't feel the question was important enough to even address it. Right? So the Gemara
he wasn't goyrus it?
Yeah.
Don't we say shtika kaida?
That's the question. Was it shtika kaida or not? Was it shtika kaida or not?
Well, again, what's the answer? Kibler of Yochanan like Kibler?
We don't know. He's saying, I'm wondering whether Rabbi Yochanan was even makabel this question or not. Was he quiet because he wasn't makabel it, or was he quiet because he wasn't even being goyrus it? Right? Now, there's an interesting din that we come out. So it comes out from this, it sounds like that the oilam's minhag, according to Rabbi Yochanan, he's saying that oilam by Karev was noyeg like Reb Nechemia. Right? And Taisa says it wasn't only by Karibs, it was who had in on the Tekalim, Zaysim, and all the Ilanas. Right? Yeah, so Taisa says Lav Dafka Karib, meaning the Olam decided to go with a minority opinion. That's what Rabbi Yochanan said. The Olam is Nagu, which gets us back to that whole Yovel thing, where remember what the Gemara said last week. We had Yovel, if the Olam decided not to keep Yovel, so we're just not doing Yovel. Meaning the point is that there's power in numbers. That's what comes out. That's Lamaisa what comes out from this. That if the
I didn't know we have such power. If we all come together, we can make up new things. How does that work?
Basically, if Klal Yisrael, we see this, if Klal Yisrael does not accept certain chumras, then that's it. Then that's exactly what this Gemara. That's what the Gemara is saying. I mean, that's what Rabbi Yochanan is saying. So
that's also somewhat apropos to in Yana Diyama.
Why?
You can stand up as a group and say no, and people
walk.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what you mean. Yeah.
Is it Klal Yisrael or the Rabbanan?
No, it seems like it's even Klal Yisrael. Like in Avodah Zarah, the Gemaras, they made a gezerah against oil from a guy, and Klal Yisrael just pushed back and they took it back. Otherwise, we'd have to have oil. Oil would be no good, right? There would have to be, or you need the mashkiach to cook the oil, whatever it is. So they pushed back there. There's quite a few places where Klal Yisrael just pushed back, right? So Taisus, the bottom Taisus talks about Nagu, and it's a very interesting thing. The way that I saw this originally in the Sharm Tzionim Bahalacha, in the Hakdama, the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. Simon, you have your set. Did you ever get the whole set, Simon?
No, just in the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, but he's got other things too.
No, I'm saying on the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, in the first volume, he has a
I got it also.
He has a Hakdama. If you look there, he has a Hakdama in Klolim Psak. And he says sometimes the Ramah in Shulchan Aruch says Noagu, and sometimes the Ramah says V'chein Noagu, and sometimes it says V'chein Noyagin. And the Sharm Tzionim Bahalacha says that when Ramah says V'chein Nohagu, which is the lashon of our Gemara, the Ramah means to say this is the way Klal Yisrael does it.
Yeah, but we see that. We say that when they talk about going out to the market to see what Klal Yisrael does. Didn't they base halacha off of like what normal people do generally?
Yeah, but here it's where the Klal Yisrael chose. Klal Yisrael chose, what do you call it? They chose to paskin. You see, that's talking about where Klal Yisrael does it a certain way. Here we're saying, the Ramah is saying, when it says Noagu, that's the way Klal Yisrael paskin. That's the way Klal Yisrael does it. Don't start off with it. When the Ramah says V'chein Noyagin, that's the Ramah telling us this is the way you have to be Noyag. This is the way you have to be Noyag. Which is mashma like that from this Gemara, because he said Nagu ha'am like Reb Nechemia. The Olam took the prerogative and decided, and they voted. They voted what they're going to be like. Yeah. All right. So we'll stop over here. Tomorrow we start with the next couple of ladas. I got it to all about the tshuva and when the Gemara din is, and they're quite interesting Gemaras. All right. Have yourselves a good night.
In the Akdama to the first chelik?
And mine, I don't know where you don't need it. Says not in yours. Hold it up. Which one do you have? Which one do you have? Which version? Yeah, the Hakdama, in the Hakdama to the first chalik, you should have.
I scanned over it. Okay, look.
Klalim of Psak before the kitzur starts.
Which sefer are you talking about?
The Kshar Mitzion Ba'alacha on Kitzur Shulchan Aruch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which Isser is there here in Paskin like R Nechemia?
Which Isser?
Yeah.
Just you're going with a Das Yochid.
That's the Isser we're talking about? We're not talking about an Isser in Trumas Meistris or Shvius or something?
What do you mean? Yeah.
Now, if you go like R Nechemia, it comes out you being machmir across the board. What's the problem with that?
You're not being every chumrah is a cooler here.
How?
What do you mean? Are you taking off Trumas and Meisters? Are you taking off Shemitah?
Taking off Trumas and Meisters from what the Rabbanan would call Shemitah, that's a chumrah.
No, I'm saying, why is it? What's saying it? It depends what year. Meister Ani, Meister Sheni. I mean, there's all sorts of variables. No.
I mean, okay, in din, and straight up and down monetary halacha, that's not l'chumra or l'kula. Only chumra that comes out of it is shvius.
What?
If chanat is during shvius and the lakish is after shvius, then
No, just me and Yaakov.
saying that you go buster the first year is just a chumrah.
So we're going to Carteret tomorrow.
It's a chumrah?
I'm taking from 7 to 1.
And we're going to Naugatuck on Tuesday.
No, I'm saying, but if you, I don't understand what you said.
1 to 2. I'm saying just from 7 to 1. That's where it says Nagu.
It's outside of Waterbury. They started. It's like a
from year 7 to year 1. That's just the chumrah.
Year 7
it's a
to year 1. Why is it just a
Rabbi
chumrah?
Lander is officially.
It turns out you're taking Meiser. You're taking Meiser on Paris
He
Shvius.
started. It's like an out of town for like.
You're taking that.
Yeah, but you're not treating it with kedusha shvius.
Someone actually wanted me to.
It doesn't say that.
But isn't that what he's doing?
But it wasn't.
Taking Meiser from
too far out for me.
I understand, but he's not. That means he's not treating it with kedusha shvius.
Why? It could be anyone could come and take it. The rest of it.
Look around today.
Wait, ultimately, what do people do?
Sounds like a nice
the
place.
8th year. Do people know the difference between Chanata and Lakita and everything else?
You're asking the Metzias? I don't know. Ask Simon.
No, I'm not asking the Metzias. I'm asking the people. The average. The fact that you just told me ask Simon means that no one knows the Metzias anyway.
That could be. Well, that's
so.
maybe
No one
nowadays.
goes after Rosh Hashanah. No one's going to go into Yana's field to take anything. It's going to remain his.
1 week a month out.
Right.
What's he supposed to do?
I understand. Whoever, you're asking now how anybody knows when Chanata is.
He has a bunch of Passaic kids. He has like 5-6 kids from the 5 towns.
I would imagine that's the Metzias. No one knows.
So therefore, what? I don't understand what you're saying.
I don't know. I just thought the whole previous
he wants a certain type of kid.
really
He's very
is a little bit more fundamental.
What?
I think
when you say even the from Amud Aleph, the whole Gemara here is a fundamental Gemara about Shvius. What happens when people touch
like the high school?
Gershi, can I stop you for a second?
Right,
tell Icky he's got to move away from your phone.
What?
Who's that?
Tell Icky he
Simon
gets to move away from the phone.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm moving.
I know you're having a very nice private conversation and all, but
I didn't think you were still on, Simon.
Yeah, anyways, go ahead.
a lot of the svaras on for the whole previous Amud, I don't know, I felt were more fundamental. If people are touching them, right, and that ruins them, that's the first time you have it. Then you have people touching them, some amela they're hefker.
Yaakov said that like he was the only.
But that svara, that they're hefker, does that mean that it shows that they're shemitah produce, or lamaisa they're hefker, even if they're shana shishis, even if the 6th year produce, if everyone touches it, that's hefker. Mamela, it's hefker. I don't care if
That's
it's
what we
from
said.
6th
Wait,
year or
from the
7th.
previous Gemara on Amud Aleph.
Yeah, all of these svaras here, all of them.
I had a very good conversation.
Does it matter if I have hefker peiros from shana shishis?
Yeah, that's what they say.
They're still going to be potter for meiser. They're hefker.
Right, so nice food.
So as long as people treat them as hefker,
Correct.
they're hefker.
Correct.
And here we have the opposite. If people don't treat them, if nobody treats them as hefker, what are they? What am I supposed to do? Just let them rot in the field. That's kedushas shvius. Let them rot. No, so I treat them as mine. And they take meiser. This whole thing is a fundamental machlokes. It's not just about hilchos shvius or hilchos meiser.
Okay.
So what are we supposed to do? How are you supposed to treat it? I can't waste the whole crop of shmita produce. What am I supposed to do with it?
Well, first of all, 1 second. Isn't that what you do with svichim? You just leave it in the field. You know, you're mechuyev to go farm your land in shmita because it's going to sit and rot.
Well, svichim grow more or less mamela. That's not fruit. That's grain. You just need a couple people to trample them in and they'll grow. They need a little half of grains don't even need a little covering. They can grow from on top of the soil as long as it's damp. Fruit can't do that. Fruit needs to, you need to take the seed out, you need to rot it, you need to whatever, you need to plant it. Your fruit doesn't work as svichim so well. Grain does. I don't know, Simon, you still there?
She's not.
Simon's trying to listen in on Icky.
Yeah, I'm still here. It's a little bit
going on now, Simon.
What?
I wasn't following the conversation, if I'm honest.
Simon, you can call me. I'll have.
All right, so tell me if I'm correct. Is there a grain between growing grain and fruit? Grain basically can fall on the floor and grow. Fruit has to be planted and you need to take more care of it.
No.
Fruit, 1 second. Fakert. Fruit is fruit. We said this last night. Fruit grows up by itself. Vegetables need to be taken care of. Fruit grows by itself. Vegetables don't.
No, only once it's planted. Not once you can't drop a fruit on the floor and hope it'll grow.
Yeah, you can.
Why not?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you think it propagated prior to American, people putting apple seeds in making orchards? That's how it works.
No, he's in the college.
People doing what?
Yeah, she's teaching at the high school.
That's how they propagate. The fruit drops, whether the fruit's a tomato or an apple, a pear, so on.
Right.
That's how the fruit drops. Or that's how they propagate.
Was there a couple months ago?
Get carried away. Break down.
Right.
Unless it's by a bird or something.
I can't hear anything.
Yeah, but that's how it happens.
He was looking at retirement houses.
He was looking what?
Hey,
he's not. How can you can't possibly be picking his voice up.
It's pretty loud.
How could that be?
Whispering.
He's such a personality.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't know what you're getting at. I'm saying the point is that Nechemia is saying whoever the genius is that knows how to figure this stuff out.
Right. I don't know. I'm very unclear on all this difference between Shemitah and Meiser.
That's what they were there.
Seems to be Lemaisa. What are you left with? Meiser, we go at Basar Lakita.
Lemaisa, what am I left? I'm left with that I'm sticking to Chutz La'aretz. That's what I'm left with.
Yeah, but I gotta go. We have Chutz La'aretz also.
What?
And Chutz La'aretz is some chiyuvim and Meiser too.
Yeah.
I hear Teku basically.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Oh yeah, it's confusing. Yeah, this whole thing very confusing.
No, but there's real steers in Psaki, with the way the Gemara comes out.
Well, the steers with all the different Amirayim and Tanaim and yeah.
No, even if you include all of that, if you don't say that Meiser and Shemitah go busser the same time of the tree's growth or plant's growth, you have a problem.
Right.
And you do here automatically. They're different.
Yeah. So we're selling the when maybe we're selling the old ones.
The Rosh Hashanah is different.
Yeah, this was like the
correct.
You'll see
with Shemitah you go Basar Lakita with more things than you do Basar Chanata. With Meiser you go Basar Chanata more than you go Basar Lakita. You're gonna have issues, so it doesn't make sense to start with. So Mamela, I kind of understand where Nechemia is coming from. Nagu. What do you want them to do? What on earth do you want Klal Yisrael to do?
Yeah.
You have 1,003 halachas here. None of them go together with each other.
Right.
What's the kasha? I don't know what's that. What does Rish Lakish want from Rabbi Yochanan?
Well, that's sort of what he. Well, that's what he. That's what the Gemara said. What are you asking me from Shemitah Deraisa to Ma'aser Derabbanan? That's what the Gemara said.
But what is Rish Lakish asking here?
No, you weren't there.
The truth is, I'm so confused that I can't really ask the question. But
it's a fascinating place.
I don't know.
It's like not reality. It's just all vacation.
You have another blot of this, no?
No, that's it. We're done. We're done. Now we're on to Agata about Yom Naroim.
Year. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I have to now go decide whether I'm driving to a wedding to Brooklyn now.
Don't do it.
I got Icky to chauffeur me, so maybe I'll take him up on it. We'll see.
Where are you going to?
I have a wedding in Williamsburg, but I don't know if I'm going to go. I'm losing my cheshik by the minute.
If you're gonna drive with Icky,
Whose wedding
put the
is
phone on speaker.
Hello, whose wedding is it?
There ain't nothing much. There ain't nothing much.
Oh, it's that guy?
That
Who looks
redhead
like
guy.
you?
Yes, yes.
Oh my God.
Anyways.
This guy.
I get the knock, yeah, Shikaya.
Who looks like you? He's as big as you?